Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Virgo Channel. Only 2 minutes late. Not that easy to do. Been running around trying to get my gym in, trying to get everything in. So I made it. I made it, but I made it by the skin of my teeth. I made it with only being a minute or two late. That's a rarity. Anyway, for those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Laura, and I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid. Rules could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also, know on this channel and on my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, to see how they play as karmic themes, to help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is. Really important when you're dealing with karmic people. And unfortunately, the majority of people that we deal with are karmic. Whether they come in for a day, a season, or a lifetime, there's always something to learn. The problem is that we get stuck. We get stuck in a perception, and that perception makes us feel as if there's something wrong with us. So we know right then and there that we're out of alignment because no one should be able to make us feel that way. But they do, especially when we have a heart connection. So once we change our perception, we can balance out the energy. And that's really helpful for us because who wants to be stuck ruminating about a person that went out of their way to make us feel bad because they want to keep us stuck, right? I mean, that's really what it is. Hurt people hurt people. So the real mind fuck is, why would someone that cares about me go out of their way to hurt me? And the reason why is because someone can really love you and they can also hurt you. Wounded people, hurt people, hurt people. And that's what makes it really difficult because when you have a very strong connection with someone, you want to spend time with them. You want to let them in. You want to tell them things. But a lot of people move way too fast within the connection. Well, we're going to see what the issues are today. But I always like to look at your energy first because if you have spiritual blockages, we're going to see it play out within your relationship. And the most important thing is not really about that person, it's about you. Because once you change your energy, you force that person to change, whether they want to or not. The issue is a lot of times we're afraid to do that, which is what that person is banking on. And that's what they can normally tell to see if you're stuck, right? If I'm stuck, I don't have to put in any effort. Once you move on and you don't care anymore, now that person cares. So, we want to get to a place where we're balanced. And that doesn't mean that you don't have feelings for the person. It means that they no longer can manipulate you, that you're strong within yourself, because that's why the universe brought that person to you. It's not about hating that person. It's not about, even though you want to hate that person, because if you're stuck ruminating, trust me, it creates a lot of emotions. But it's about taking your power back, because again, there's many different realities that play it at one time. You could actually do something that makes that person chase after you. That's the irony. You could, because again, that person's a soulmate. So somebody's gonna learn. You just don't want it to be you, to be like, oh, I gave time and look what this person did. No, we want that motherfucker to learn, to be like, oh, did you think I was that person? No, I'm not. It's like, because understand, you have that potential. You won't see that you have that potential. And that's the whole point. We always tend to look at that person made me feel, that person made me, but what could we do to change the energy? Because that's really what it is that your higher self, the God part of yourself, is like, I want to rep that fucking person. I want to show that person. It's like, I might not want to take them down. I might not want revenge, but I definitely want to take my respect back. I want to say, no, 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 honey, that's who you are. You like to project, because wounded people do that. And that's why it's so confusing, because you'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. When people see what they look for, remember that. That's why you always want to be spiritually clean, so that you see things from the right perception, not through the filter of your wound. All right. Anything of any importance or relevance, you know where to find it. It's in the description box. If you need shadow healing coaching, I'm finally on a school. Yeah, it took me a long time. And that's because it's like I'm not a business person. I'm a psychic person. I like to connect through the emotions. It's like money, it's very grounding, very masculine energy, you know? It's like I know I'm in a business group and I hate it. I hate it because they don't understand me. I don't understand them. It's like, but again, spirit brings us things that we need. So it did teach me. It also taught me what I would never want to fucking be. How do you like that? But nevertheless, spirit says, talk about your coaching program, which is shadow healing, inner child healing, reparenting. But what's great about it is that we get to ask questions. Who cares about all that? We get to see each other because it's not done on YouTube. It's actually done where you see me, I see you, and you get to see other people in the community, and you build, and you're online. You're in the comfort of your home, and that works for me, you know. And so you get to ask questions, you get to be interactive, you get to be part of a podcast, you get to ask me questions, and you get to learn. That's the most important thing, because that's how you're going to get your armor strong. Because understand, it's not like you're going to change the environment, you got to change you. And that is a transformational process. But it's wonderful when you have support. And most people that go through trauma, they don't have anyone to talk to. No one wants to hear about your boyfriend again. No one wants to hear it, Marlene. It's like 12 years with this guy. You think Marlene would get it, but Marlene loves the person. What are you going to do? We shouldn't judge, but, it makes Marlene feel bad already. You don't think it makes Marlene feel bad? It makes Marlene feel bad that she's connected to someone and she's got to talk about it because there's no one to talk to. No one wants to hear your trauma. You could be abused. You could be, and really, we're seeing that within the planet. That's part of the spiritual warfare that's happening. When people look the other way with the child trafficking, with the people trafficking, with the corrupt bullshit that happens on the planet, people, they see it. They see it. There were 3 girls that were kidnapped. The neighbor said, "Oh, that looks peculiar. It looks peculiar, but we're not going to do anything about it." 12 years later, one girl escapes. The police never really investigated, and everyone did a half-assed job. So, and people aren't present. And that's the devil has to do things right in front of your face. The devil, it's a known fact in Satanism, they have to tell you. They have to tell you what they're going to do. They don't do anything behind your back. They tell you, because it's like, well, you're agreeing to it. And so understand, we have a spiritual war happening. And if you don't think that your relationships are a part of that, well, it is. Because it's trying to make you feel as if you can't have anything. Taking your spiritual sovereignty, where God's like, everybody knows I won. You're in war now, though. I told you it'll happen again. One day heaven will be on earth, but it's through the character of man. You got to raise your consciousness, because again, that silent war is of the mind. It's of the mind. And so again, it'll play out as money issues. It play out as generational curses. It plays out as trauma. So you have to heal yourself, and you have to build a community, and you have to be like, again, putting on your armor every day. Yes. And the way that we do that is to have a relationship with God, and that's through our purpose. When we look at relationship issues, many times it's because we don't even know who we are. And so we have to understand, if we don't know who we are, it's going to feel real good to be with someone that makes you feel good, because you don't even know that you don't treat yourself that well. And that you might say, I do. I go to we try. You get hair done, you get your nails done, you get your face done. I haven't done a lot of that in a few. I need it. I'm getting old anyway. But those are the way that we normally do it, and spirit says that's not the way that you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to heal from the inside out, because the kingdom of heaven's inside of you. If you can imagine it, you can create it. But a lot of people can't create through all the wounds, right? That's going to be a problem. And that's why I said the spiritual war is of the mind. Get your armor on. And how do we get the armor on? We understand what the wounds are. We understand how they play out. We become conscious of how we contribute to the imbalances within the situation so we can shape shift our reality because we're tired. We're tired. We're tired of the lack. We're tired of the loss. We're tired of the grief. We're tired of the shame. We're tired of the victimization. We're tired. And understand that that's the spirit that will be tired. The spirit will say, fuck this shit. I'm going to start flipping fucking tables over. That's what Jesus did. Went into the marketplace and he flipped tables over. He was like, fuck this shit. You might not, they left that part out of the Bible, but you're not going to tell me that man didn't curse. Seeing what you're doing, disrespecting. You're disrespecting. You will not disrespect. Okay. Now, Spirit says, these are the energies that we need to focus on. We'll start with the wounds first. Broken trust. And God says trust comes from trusting yourself. Discernment. It's again, but if you get close with someone and you're like, well, I really have feelings for them and I wind up giving too much, because understand shows up as difficulty relying on others. So understand this is bad. You know why? You'll teach a person unconsciously that they don't have to do nothing for you because you become so independent. And you don't realize that you do that. So right away, Spirit says, we fucked up. I gave you the keys to drive and we can look where we went. You drove us right off the curb. You don't know what you're doing. It's again, shows up as difficulty relying on others. So who wants to be made to feel like they're not deserving, that they're not good enough? Because that's what that's going to feel like. It's going to feel like that person makes you feel as if that there's something wrong because you'll do it, because fear of betrayal and the tendency to isolate and keep people at a distance, rooted in past wounds. This wound creates a lingering fear of being hurt, and understand. So that's what you'll recreate, because it's where we put our focus. That's why having a purpose is so important. It's your connection to other people through support, because you have to give and receive of love, right? And it's your connection to God, because you get to see God work through you. You get to see God work through the environment to bring you the people, the situations, and the experiences that change your mind and your heart. And it doesn't matter who doesn't like it, because there are going to be people that don't like it. They'll say, who the fuck do you think you are? Why? Because they're not doing what they need to do. And Spirit says, because that's the way that it works. I have to use people to help heal people. And so we don't want to do that. We want to get ourselves into a place of serenity. And this is the opposite energy. So we're far. And so understand that means you don't trust yourself. And that's because I don't know. I don't do anything. I'm a good person. And they come into my life and here we are. I didn't even do anything. I gave love. I treated that person the way I wanted to be treated. I felt like I marked off all the checks. I thought I learned from the last relationship. And so understand there will always be a fear of the future. And the fear of the future is you can't have, there's something wrong with you. Because again, it's like, I have to do everything by myself. I have to do because if we grew up, if this was an inner child wound where there was trust that was broken at such a young age, and it didn't mean that it was purpose. It could have been purpose. It doesn't matter. Spirit says it doesn't matter. The mind just knows that there was, trust. And then you have to do everything alone. Then what happens is your third eye can't open up, because you can't do everything alone. You have to be able to rely on other people. And if you're the one that's always doing, always giving, always sacrificing, you don't grow anything for yourself. You got to love yourself. God says, I live inside of you as a gift of spirit. That's your spiritual sovereignty. What are you, crazy? When are you giving that away? Of course. And then what happens is it's normal to look at other people and be like, well, Mary Jane has a good relationship. And Bobby has a great job, like, and everybody else has, but you don't have. And so if we don't trust, we see what we look for. And so it comes from getting balance. The spirit says right away we're not in alignment. And spirit says, and what's that cost is money, abundance. Abundance. It's like you're in a place of lack. Because again, I only can rely on myself and I'm not really seeing everything. And spirit says, because you're doing my job. Don't do my job. Do your job. Be like childlike. Again, takes a mustard seed of effort every day. I make that multiply. Show up for yourself. You're not. It's again because you think that you are, but you can't do everything. You have to get more grounded, more in your being, more in, again, because what'll happen is that when you get that support, hey, listen, that you're healing that second chakra. That's the water element. We go with the flow of life through the passion for life, right? I mean, otherwise there's no connection to other people. You're going to give too much to every single other person. You're never going to feel fulfilled. You're not going to trust everyone because you're over giving. No one's giving you. There's a perception like you can't have. And so, because so there's all that, are you creating yourself? Are you becoming yourself? No one can take what's yours, only you can forfeit what's yours by giving people too much power over you. You don't want to do that. We want to be able to go with the flow of life so we can focus on our craft, so we can again really shine. Because God says, yeah, you're not everyone's not going to like you, but you're gonna attract your people, and you're going to be able to be very abundant and successful. But it's relying on other people, and that's why you're like, I don't see it. I don't see it. And that there's a fear. And that's what the second chakra is. So spirit saying you need to work on that energy, more you. And that's by finding yourself. If you're like, I don't really know what that is, I work a job, because it's a collective reading. So for some of you and for others, it's like it doesn't, you are talented, but you don't feed it enough. And that's possibly because you're giving too much energy away to other people. But in the fact that maybe, like I said, you could say, well, I help my mom out, I help my sister, and I help it. And in that, you're not helping yourself out. So it's still a second chakra imbalance. And can see how the second chakra will come out in just behaviorisms that you're not cultivating yourself enough to see enough of a path unfold. And so that means you're not grounded enough. You're not interactive enough in the world. You have to be, you have to show up for yourself, is what Spirit says. And Spirit says also have compassion towards others who don't see the world the same way that you do. Because sometimes, like I said, it's not like you're like, no, people just don't like me. Like you may feel that way. And if you have trauma, that's what it would look like. But Spirit says people have different perceptions, and it's just because they may not know. And like, yes, you're being asked to have compassion. You're being asked to have compassion. And this may be a block right now where you're like, I'm trying to create something, but there's someone in like that, they won't help me. They won't. And where Spirit says, no one can stop you in the right time, but it's up to you to keep, your mindset and believe. Because it's not that you're not attracting people that don't believe in what you do or maybe believe in you, and that's their level of consciousness. Don't hold on to anger and then not trust and think everyone's like that, because everyone's not like that. It's like, and that'll happen because you've been hurt so much, like through people just like not being equal, like again, not showing up for you, that you don't want to. And Spirit says, take the time that you need to feel out the situation and give it your best response. And sometimes that means letting go of certain people or again, situations. But I'm really feeling it's kind of like you're in a situation with someone right now that you don't trust. But it's a reoccurring karmic pattern. When you sit and you think about it, you're like, this plays out with friends, it can play out with other people. And spirit says yes, because it was betrayal at a young age. So what'll happen is you don't become grounded enough. See, we get grounded. Yeah, I mean, if we're to be present, let's face it, that second chakra's got to be balanced, where you're in the passion for life. Otherwise, who wants to be present? I mean, think about it. It's grounding energy. It's hard to be present all the time, right? I mean, it's fun to kind of go into the mind, and because you can imagine and you can transcend yourself anywhere if you don't like the environment. However, what will wind up happening is you won't enjoy life. It's like you'll relive the same karmic themes until you learn them. A lot of people tend to, when there's so many trust issues, they just disconnect and isolate due to the betrayal. And so then it's like, oh, my future, I worry. And God says that's because, again, you need to heal that. And the only way to heal it is you got to walk through the fire. That's what that symbolization of walking on the fire coals is. When it's like, oh my God, I can't do it. Well, ice cold plunging, the same thing. It's teaching you to breathe. And if you have a lot of trauma, it's really hard. It's really hard. And listen, I'm the biggest baby where spirit keeps saying, you need to get that ice back. I hate the cold. I have 3 heaters. And I have my heat on if it gets to like 70 degrees. I'm like, nope, heat goes on. Like where my husband used to hate it. He's like, it's so hot in here. And I'm like, I'm comfortable. And that's from being in the mind all the time and you're not moving. Again, you're not moving your body. And it's also like, just want to be safe and comfortable and warm, and spirit's like, that's an imbalance. That's an imbalance. So I'm going to pair you up with someone that loves it cold. And I hated it. My point is that, we get people and situations that are going to create the balance that we wouldn't do for ourselves. So it's not that we have to trust other people. We trust ourselves. And you get a better connection to the physical body. That heals the root chakra because you have to create the support for yourself. And that's first and foremost through, getting a stronger nervous system. If you grew up in survival where there was betrayal, believe me, you're like, you don't breathe like properly all the time. When you get stressed out, you just have a hard time shutting the mind. And so spirit says we got to get strong within ourselves before we have a strong relationship. That's why there's a lot of talk on this part. Because spirit says, I don't think we're going to like what the relationship looks like. And I said, why is that in my head? And spirit says, because look at it. It's like the person, if they're so afraid due to like past experiences, and they're like, I just don't know how to fix that. I don't trust myself anymore. I don't trust, or that person, I feel like I hate that person because they made me feel that way. Where spirit says, we can't go back in time, but we can again become ourselves. And that's the portion of this that'll heal, that'll heal that blockage of trust. Because when you create yourself, you're doing it through utilizing your discernment because you don't know. You're just putting it out there the best way that you know how, and the path unfolds while you're on it. You're led by your intuition, the higher self, which is a God part of self. But if you're so wounded and you have so many blockages, you're not going to be able to create. So then you'll think, I can't trust anyone because that's what has happened. Yes, but part of it is also, you're not realizing that maybe you're not as present or proactive, or you're not balanced. So you get the imbalance. And unfortunately, it's kind of not fair because you could be like someone that just is unaware and like gives too much and is a really loving person, like overly like the top, and you connect to a person that's a real fucking narcissist, like a sociopath, and you're like, I'm not that. And Spirit says there's only two energies, love and fear, but you're going to learn one way or the other. And most likely you won't have that big of an imbalance, but you will attract that because Spirit's saying, because you're going to get it right. It's not going to take you 10 times to date someone like that. Because you'd be like, oh no, I can never go back into anything like that again. When people have been so betrayed and wounded, they don't. But they still have to alchemize the energy, and Spirit says, you haven't done that. And in the fact that you haven't done it, we had to look at these wounds to see why. So you may be like, well, am I supposed to quit my job tomorrow? And Spirit says, no, but you have to get better lifestyle habits and maybe have a day before your day and feed a little bit, whatever it is that stirs up your heart if you don't know what that is. Or if you do know what that is, again, collective reading, then you got to put the energy like towards what it is that you want to create and understand. The focus is on what you're doing. It's not on like what that person is thinking or what that person is doing. You're not looking for issues, and other people aren't looking for issues. You're just looking to become yourself. And in that, nobody gets too much. And that's when you have discernment. You're like, oh, I saw Bobby is not trustworthy. How did you know? Well, because I hang out every Wednesday. And normally when he comes in, he went to the bathroom and he took his phone, and my intuition just told me that there was something. So sure enough, I became really discerned. And then I saw, it's like you see it, and you see it because you're grounded and you didn't give too much of yourself away. That's why. But there's a sense of not having that balance. So trust is the second chakra. And when trust has been broken, intimacy problems happen. So then you'll attract a person that's really hot and heavy for you, but then all of a sudden they don't want to have like anything with you, which is betrayal because it's abandonment. So there's a lot that goes into the healing the first and second chakra wound. But Spirit says you can start by healing yourself. Better connection to the physical body, again, through breath work, cold plunges, body mind work, doing what you need to do to strengthen your nervous system, to be present, to be in the moment. Setting up small term goals, long term goals, and becoming yourself. The shadow work comes. It's like this is more about root chakra. Let's get something happening, and then so we can get strong enough to move into the second chakra, which is let me go out into the world and connect with other people and understand you're going to have to be present. You're going to have to be relaxed and in the moment and not looking for problems. And it's again because those wounds are there. The difference is your presence, so it doesn't matter if you get triggered, And that's really what Spirit's saying, because you have to go walk on the fire coals. Now you have to go through the experience to see yourself differently. Otherwise, you create the same scenario. But this is because there's a root chakra imbalance and a second chakra imbalance. Like betrayal, trust at such a young age creates intimacy issues. Just the way that it goes. And Spirit says, in order for you to have abundance, you have to rely on other people. You have trust issues. Fix it. All right, let's move to the relationship part. And we're just going to, look. The good thing is when you're dealing with the karmic, it's not that the person doesn't love you. They usually do. It's just it doesn't look good, and that's the thing. And I do look at intention because I think intention's important. Sometimes a person doesn't, like it's again a shallow relationship, but a lot of times it's not true. The person really has feelings. It's just they have, self-sabotaging wounds. All right, let's see. Let's look at just the hidden truth. Where is this person at? What are they thinking right now? What are they thinking? I want you. Passion. So again, soulmates always have passion. That's why if you might be like, well, that person's not even around me. They don't even talk to me. Well, again, that doesn't mean that they don't have intimacy issues and trust issues. If you have that wound, guess what? You're pulling someone to you that has that wound. You know, that's the whole thing. You're a mirror of whom what comes into your life. It doesn't mean that the person like acts the way that you do. If anything, they're going to betray you. And of course, they're going to be focused more on the sex. Again, that's the lust. The spirit says, what do you think? People are just going to want to heal on their own? Spirit says, no, I have to put that element in there. The person like is like a horn dog. It's like because it makes their ego want. But again, that's what makes a karmic relationship so profound and strong. You have a lot of power. And that goes back to what I said in the beginning of the reading, which spirit's saying you have a lot of power. That like there's many different realities. You've been stuck in a reality that doesn't really work for you. It's time to look at yourself differently. You know, you came closer than anyone. So I feel like this person is like kind of. I feel like they're probably with somebody else, and they sabotage this connection. And for whatever reason, I always feel like somebody was told that, I don't know, someone was convinced to stay in a previous relationship. And I feel like this person like really wanted to leave, feels like you're their person. There's still this sexual, chemistry. This person did not, I don't feel like they were ever looking for a relationship or looking for anything. It just means that they were never really satisfied in the relationship that they're in, which by the way is the second chakra imbalance. To be in a relationship but checked out and wanting somebody else, that's an intimacy issue. I left you before you could leave me. Said again, so when you met them, they weren't 100% single. And if you would have seen them, you wouldn't have stayed. You know, I think that this person didn't really think that they were going to be affected that much, but now that, they're not with you and they still have that connection, ESP through the heart and mind and understand. God says, oh, that's a divine connection. Even though it's a karmic connection, it's a divine connection because I want people to learn. You're not getting that your ideal person because, hey, there's healing that needs to be done. I will wait for a sign from you. So again, and you're not giving this person anything. And don't. And do not. Because it's like this person, I feel like they still don't want to be transparent. They still don't want to let everything. And I say that because why would you wait for a sign from me aside from feeling like I'm going to say no and you don't want to be rejected because of your pride? So again, you're still in your ego that you care more about that than you do about how you treated me. And number two, is God only knows what's going on in your life, and you don't want to be transparent with me. So you want me to come back to you so you can pick and choose what you want to tell me. So you're not, you know, so we see the imbalance, understand. And this person, I feel like they're not happy with who they're with because they have never been happy with who they're with. Because when it's a lust relationship in the beginning, things happen super fast. And I feel like they got pregnant really fast, or there was a thing where this person, everything looked good on paper, and this person did try to make it work. But there's been betrayal and betrayal because this person's checked out, and they're checked out now thinking about you, but you know that you're not the first person that this person has checked out on. And I feel like they were really going to leave. That's why they say you came closer than anyone, where this person was trying to leave this person, that karmic for a long time. I hope that you can forgive me one day. This person knows that you're like, fuck you. You betrayed me. And it's like because you weren't transparent. Well, they weren't transparent because their life looks like shit. And I feel like they wanted to. That's why they left you before you could leave them because, hey, they already feel like shit. So here it is. They wind up having this connection to you like they never had before. There's really like a lot still like this chemistry where this person's still thinking about you, but they're like, I can't really do anything about it. However, I do feel like this person would love to be your friend, would love to talk to you, would love, there's a sense of almost like that karmic. I feel like every time that they leave or they abandon, this karmic just puts the noose on them a little bit tighter, a little bit tighter. And that's through shame, that's through guilt, that's through like, emotionally making them feel as if they have to, so this person's not strong within themselves, is what spirit is saying. And they really were going to leave, but that karmic has a lot of power. I'm so attracted to you. Well, again, spirit says, well, I'm going to do everything in my power to try and get this person out of their situation. So I have to, give them something, to like have in other ways they wouldn't do nothing. Hey, Debbie, and happy Valentine. So yeah, you understand, like this person's like they wouldn't do shit. I don't react when people mention you, and believe me, that karmic is mentioning you because this person's checked out. That karmic thinks that they thought that they won, and what they're seeing is, I did not win because I'm with somebody that's checked out. And I feel like just bashing that person even more down to the ground. And this person didn't show you that part of themselves. You met a facade because no one would show you that part of themselves, because that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. And this person knows that it's embarrassing because they're like, I don't have control over my life. How the fuck did I get my life like this? How the fuck did this happen? And mainly this person has intimacy issues, and this is partially why. And I feel like they got themselves into a jam. They overgave, and then, they know that they're not in love with the person, and they feel bad about it, is what I feel. So they had one foot in and one foot out, and that was the reason why, because it's like, I still was connected, but I couldn't let go. So I tried to avoid. They need to clear their energy. It's again, they're shattered. They're just fragmented. And that's what the power is that this karmic has. And spirit says that's what happened. It's not like this person wants to be there. It's almost like they don't have power, but they're never going to show you that about themselves. They're never, like, it's embarrassing. Like I said, my mask keeps me safe. I need to fake my true feelings. And that's how this person is living. That's somebody that God says they're in prison right now. Because they have to like get to the point where they like, enough. They have to get mad. Right now, that karmic has them in shame and guilt and how dare you, and you're a piece of shit, especially if they have kids. Oh my God, it's like whatever this karmic can do, bringing in family, bringing in whatever, just beating this person down, like public humiliation. I feel like every single time it like this person like runs away. It's almost like a kid that runs away and is trying to like escape, and the parent comes back and like finds them, that's the energy, and which is, again, they're obsessive because they're living out of balance. So the more that this karmic has a noose on them, the more that this person finds you attractive, the more that they detach from that karmic, which makes the karmic more angry because it's like, why aren't you fucking here? This should have worked because of how much they've given. When you have to keep running after a person and beating them down, that's a lot of effort there. And you wind up getting sick. So I kind of feel like that karmic is becoming very bipolar. And that's why this person is like, oh my God, how the fuck did I get like, how did this happen? And it's because, hey, you give too much power. They were trying to accommodate someone that they didn't really want to accommodate, but they felt obligated to and still have their life. And they like at the cost of everybody else. Again, so yes, when this person met you, they were shady. It wasn't like they didn't have feelings. They had feelings, but it's, again, I wasn't going to act on it. It's, again, I was going to act on it like half-assed. I should say, meaning it was never going to go anywhere. And yes, because of that situation. But now this person is like in jail, like with that person, and they're like, you know, where they're seeing that karmic, like the irony, where I don't think this person ever knew how manipulative that karmic was. Like, and that is what's so terrifying. They're like, who the hell is this person? Because that karmic has, again, it should have worked. How much time, effort, energy, sacrifice. And you're thinking about somebody else? You're checked out? Yeah, like the I was only fooling myself by thinking that I could ever forget you. And that's why they're in prison, right now with crazy, because crazy is like, I own you, like that. And this person is just like, I can't run away, but I'm going to check out, like disassociate. And that makes that person more crazy because on an emotional level, that karmic is starved. And so it's not a pretty thing that's happening right now for that person. And they're in a place of, you see everything, you know everything. And believe me, the karmic is saying, do you think that they want you to be that pretty little thing wants to be with you, or that handsome hunk wants to be with you? You're not man enough, like that's what I hear somebody saying. You're not man enough. like just beating that person down to the ground because they're so infuriated of how much time, energy, effort. And it's like, you can't make someone love you. I feel like that worked for a long time. But now, like this, relationships are like that. Like you meet somebody and it's like love at first sight, or this wasn't that. There was always sexual connection. There was always that, but not to the point where this person's like really wants to like be with you. This person's like, I want to talk to you, but would you even listen to me? You probably won't even listen to me. I don't even know. I feel the pull back to you like a magnet, like it's again, and that's why that karmic is mad and tired. And so you just see this is where this person is, that like they're checked out, but I feel like eventually they're going to wake up and they're not going to want to deal in that situation. It's going to become so non-bearable for this person to like be there. They can no longer like go back. And that's like, it was okay. Like once they did, if they didn't know, when they didn't have a connection like this. But the fact that there's such a spiritual connection, it's like they just, I really can't. It's like, I've tried. I want to. It would be so much easier if I could, but I just can't. And Spirit says, I have to bring people into everyone's life to help them heal, to help them see different perceptions. And that's what this did here, because you did what you needed to do, which is peace out. I'm not tolerating your bullshit. I'm not tolerating whatever this shit is. You want me to chase you. You're going to wait for a sign from me. It's like you're a coward. And this person knows it. They're like, I feel like a coward. I feel like I don't have control over my life. I feel like I'm a loser. I feel like, and the Spirit says, yeah, well, that's what your life kind of looks like, And God says, I gave you free will, but shit, why would we pick this? It's like this person's like, again, how did I get there? I'm in my trauma. This person just has trauma from childhood, and it's almost like this is just replaying. And so, of course, they're obsessive, trying to figure out a way out of their situation. I mean, there's a fear of change because of that karma, because again, they're not strong within themselves. Has nothing to do with you. Now, it'll trigger you because you'll say, well, if you really cared about me, you would. No. This is a life of conditioning. That just awakens your trauma, Spirit says. That has nothing to do with you. I bring people into life to awaken things within you. That has nothing to do with you. This person is, again, they're in their trauma. They're living hell. Again, because they're letting somebody put them in a place of disempowerment. I mean, no one's keeping them there except for themselves, but that, they're allowing it. Like, I don't know where I would go. They gave that person too much. They feel inadequate. But again, they're going to get mad. I'm going to say, Spirit says they have to get mad. It's like they have to get mad because that fear will eventually turn into rage, will turn into resentment, and it will explode. So don't talk to this person. Don't go near this person. Don't do anything because it's about to blow. Like this person's gonna get mad. They're gonna get mad, and Spirit says they have to. They have to. It's like in order to be like, fuck you. I don't owe you anything anymore. It's like I'm taking my life back. I've wanted to get out of this for so long, but you guilt me and you betray me and you ruin me. And I feel like this person, that karmic, like, again, there's public disgrace that's going on right now where, again, this person is, I'm going to push you into a place of intimidation where, again, like a bully, a bully on the block, which I understand this person's going to have major intimacy issues, major trust issues. And Spirit says, this is it, because this is like who the hell they're with, Again, they're living this family patterns of staying with somebody that just criticizes them all day long, just bashes them, shames them, victimizes them, which is what I said already. Spirit's like, you're being a little redundant, Spirit. Spirit says, well, there's nothing really to tell. This person is just doing everything to deal with their situation, suppressing. If they didn't have addiction, guess what? They have addictions now because it's, again, they're not leaving. They're suppressing. And after a while, it's making them sick, Spirit says, because they can't believe, again, the betrayal. So if this person betrayed you, believe me, like that wheel is, woo, like that wheel has spun like we at the Wheel of Fortune, you know what I'm saying? And it's like big money, big money. Well, this person definitely, again, they could only stay in a martyr situation for so long, which is, I'm going to help. I'm a good person, but this past life karmic connection just leaves them fucking empty. And they're just with their anxiety because they're going to be made to conform because they're being judged all the time. So that's the issue. And that's for a long time, they were, again, lazy because fear does that. It triggers the nervous system to go into fight, flight, freeze. And when that happens, we get adrenal fatigue and we're just tired and can't think because the person, that's part of what the karmic is doing. It's like, I'm fucking you up. It's like, I'm fucking you up by ripping you down and just doing everything that I can to make sure that I ruin your fucking life. It's like, I don't even want to be with you. But the fact that you want to be with somebody else after everything that I've done, and that's why you said it's like it's a bad situation, like whatever this person's going through. So it's pushing them right out of their old habits and moving them into new habits because, hey, they just can't. So if you don't feel this person around you, well, that's the reason why. Because they're with crazy right now. And they're like sleeping with one eye open, because, who knows what crazy is going to do, because crazy is becoming very bipolar. And that's bringing up that karmic's childhood because, they're in a situation that's replaying shit where they can't control anymore, where for a long time that person controlled and made things look a lot better than what they were. I feel like it was the sham of what things look like. And the fact that it was built on sex, that was what the karmic had. But the thing is, it's like you're a twin flame. Now, you might be like, this is what I have for a twin fucking flame. Spirit says, don't worry. They probably have like really accelerated gifts in other areas when they're like this emotionally handicapped. You're like, so why would you bring me someone like that? And Spirit says, you're probably handicapped in another area. Don't, but it's again going to be a little bit more compassion. You're going to be a little bit nicer. Maybe you'll be like, no, I'm not going to be nicer. And Spirit says, oh, you say that, but you're just mad. Understand this person is again stuck in that again, the family, like however they were raised, they were beaten down by their parent, their mommy, their daddy. They're reliving that. It's again that's of that where there's a lot of rejection. And that's really what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. Like that person sleeping with one eye open, because that person, it's like, again, it should have worked. I did everything. I should be that person that you want to love and that you want to give. Instead, I have to create this sham of what it looks like when you run around and want to be with other people. That's why Spirit's saying, don't go over there. It wouldn't be wise to, that like right now. Definitely would not be wise because that karmic is looking to take their anger out on somebody. And really, they will forgive that person, but they'll make sure that they destroy you. It's again, and that's somebody that it's again, they're very imbalanced, and you got to just be like, oh no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no, no, no. That's how that goes. And Spirit says, so they're eventually going to get out. Spirit says it wouldn't be wise to jump into a relationship, like a very strong relationship with this person, because they obviously are going to need a lot of healing. Yeah, that's what that energy is. Hell to the no, no, no. Hell to the no. It's like, but it's like you're the catalyst to help them get out. That's a big deal. Like right now, nothing is going to come of the situation until they actually leave. And that, yes, it's a misunderstanding, like, because this person feels like you think that they just like dropped off. They couldn't. And I feel like that part of this person, if they ever talk to you again, they would tell you again. It's because Spirit says, well, believe in the impossible. They're not going to be able to do anything right now. Don't let your pride get in the way. Like if this is a person that you do really care about, Spirit says they can't do anything to you. Understand you're the one that has the power. It goes back to that, the beginning of the reading, which Spirit says, it's time for you to step into that power and not be like, oh, I can't trust you, because it doesn't matter. I trust me by how much I'm going to give you, by how I'm going to treat you and watch you and understand like nothing is set in stone. Spirit says when you're like, no, Spirit says you say that. It's again because you're pissed off. But I know your heart. You're a softie. Not with this fucking person. I'm not. And Spirit says, yeah, when you see this person, how they're gonna come back to you like I said, like I just saw like a person that like, do you remember who Tom Hanks on that deserted island? How he was like fucked up. Like it's like when he first, well, kind of like that. This person's gonna be like, so because that karmic is ripping them apart. And so you're gonna not meet the same person who you met before. And I feel like that's gonna make you be like I'm like, I really wanted to rip your head off, but I see someone else already did that for me. So, and that puts you in your energy, because Spirit says, whether you like it or not, a new start is eventually going to come. for the majority of you, because there is caring. It's not like there isn't caring. This person just hid who they were from you because they were living out of balance to begin with. It had nothing to do with you. Were they living out of balance wrong? Yeah, they weren't caring about anybody else. They were giving that karmic the loyalty. And the karmic was fine with it as long as it looked a certain way. It doesn't look that way anymore because this person is checked out, doesn't want to do anything with them anymore. They'd rather be with you. And, and that karmic is pissed. And Spirit says, so it's eventually going to fall apart. But that doesn't mean, again, that you got to take this person back full-heartedly. What Spirit says, it's about finding balance in your situation. You might be like, I'm going to throw you a cracker every once in a while. And depending on how high you jump for that cracker, no, don't do that, Spirit says, because the person's already like messed up. But you could you're going to have a lot of power in the situation, and that's what you're not seeing. And be like, because you might be like, I didn't have the power, and Spirit says, exactly. How do you think you change your mind and heart? You change your perception about life. Spirit's saying, again, to heal the fact that it's not that fact that you're unworthy. This person made you feel unworthy. And if you have trust issues where it's always like, well, people won't show up and make me feel a certain way. Spirit says, no one can make you feel that way. Again, only you do. So if you get off your track and you become so nurturing to this person, it would be bad. But if you're really engrossed in in what you're doing, and then this person's gonna find ways to like be in your life. Because again, I want to be there and they have to earn it. So Spirit's saying it's the way you play the game. It's the way that you play the game. No one has the power over you, only if your mindset. Shift it, Spirit says. Because this person, like, they couldn't give to you what they couldn't give to themselves. And if they come clean about it, which believe me, they don't want to. It's embarrassing. Trust me. Belittled. And Spirit says, well, you know what it's like to feel unworthy. You know what it's like to be belittled. Again, that's what twin flames, it's like, that's the whole thing. It's like, I've been there. I know what it's like. It's like, yeah, but I got to a place where I don't let anyone do that. Not even you. And understand that person's going to respect. It's almost like you're bringing in like big sister energy, big brother energy. And you'd be like, I don't want to date my brother or sister. And Spirit says, no, but when there's intimacy issues because of family and trust, this person needs a friend, foundation. And it's usually a sister or brother that would make someone be like, hey, what, like that? Why would you do that now? And where that person is again, oh, I didn't even think, where people will let you, your friends will let you hurt you. They won't tell you, where you would be like, well, what? You're fucking stupid there? Oh, I wasn't even thinking. Well, you better. Understand that person's going to be like, okay, I'll do it. Because again, they're going to see you as magic, and you have that. You have the power to shape shift your reality. Spirit says it's all on you. Again, you have that power, but you understand that that what it feels like, and that you have that power, that because this connection, it has a magical force to it, and it doesn't logically make sense, but everything that's spiritual actually is, right? And Spirit says this isn't about not nurturing yourself, but understand it's about nurturing the wounded part of yourself through helping this person by showing compassion, by kind of bringing in that energy, because there still is a connection. Understand the fear of, oh my God, well, I'm going to get close and they're going to like oppress me. Spirit says, no, that's not going to happen, because you already learned. The whole point is that you have to walk through the fire coals to get it to embody a whole other reality for you to heal. Otherwise, you're not going to be healed. Now, this is about self-sabotaging yourself. It's not one or the other. That's why you're getting this twin flame where you're like, I have feelings for the person, but you know, it's that energy. They betrayed me that I can't trust. And Spirit says it's not about trust. This person has those intimacy issues too. It's about trusting yourself. The fact that you walked away and you said, and you let this person sit there with that karmic, this person already knows that you're in business, mean business. They also, you know, didn't think that that was going to be. It's like, and they actually need you. So it's not about giving up yourself, it's about learning boundaries. It's about being compassionate, and it's about nurturing that part of yourself through helping that person by showing that person compassion, is what Spirit says. Otherwise, you can't really heal. And that's why you're getting that person, not because you're deserving of it. It's like, and they also have gifts. It's not like they don't, Spirit says. That's didn't come out in this reading because they're in hell right now. But believe me, Spirit says it's not like it's a one-sided thing. Like when I bring somebody to you that needs healing, Spirit says that you're getting the person that you need also. It's a two-way street. That's why there's such a strong past life connection. That's why there's such an energetic connection, because they're like, no one wants to volunteer to do this type of healing. Wait, oh yeah, oh yeah, let me feel that way. Let me kick up all my inner child wounds. Yeah. No one wants to do that. Everybody does not want to relive their trauma. This person is, but they also need to see a different version where, hey, part of them thought that they were going to control a little bit too. That the same with that karmic, and then just being with people on the side is not, you know, not an ethical thing to do. They, knowing that they were never going to do that. So Spirit's saying they need to also live their karma. I'm just curious. We're gonna just pull three from this deck, just because I'm like, well, what is there any deeper spiritual insight that you could give us? Like, I mean, and Spirit said the inner guidance is clear, but again, this person still needs to heal their ego because their ego is resisting it. And that's what I said in the beginning, where I'm like, this person has feelings, but they're still not, because they're in fear. Our mission is to be unconditional love. Clearing our programming is a necessary part of opening our hearts. Twin flame. That's the reason why you're getting each other. It's again because there's programming. And this person, you're seeing that programming. Shame, guilt, victimization. That's how they've been programmed. That's why I said they have to get to a place where they're really angry. And after a while, that fear is going to turn into fire. And it's like, because it's the catalyst. But then Spirit says, I also have something like a focus where this person would want to. And then obviously it's something that emotionally is going to get them to do it. Otherwise, people don't do it. It's again where this person feels, I've been giving my power away to people in my life and learning to like set, and they think that they're learning to set boundaries. I mean, it's a very slow process. I think you're beautiful inside and out. It's again, I'm feeling controlled. Again, there's still more of that. Again, I don't like it. Now I'm feeling controlled by the people around me. It's pushing me to find my power. So again, it's still more of that, where this person finds, again, like, I feel like it's the type of person that you are that's making this person want to come to you. You know what I mean? Because you're going to like tell them straight, because you have told them straight. And the fact is like, I'm not going to make you do anything, but this is what I'm doing. And this person is like, I like what you're doing. I want to come along and do what you're doing. And Spirit says, of course they do, because they don't really look where they're coming from. Understand. Spirit says, I feel like I don't deserve your love. I'm worried you'll leave me when you see who I am. And that's due to that karmic, like I said. So you're not getting the same person. Whoever they showed you that they were, that person doesn't even exist. This person needs to do healing. That's why it's like friendship. This person, like, yes, they're attracted to you, yes, but they have intimacy issues. And the only way that they would be able to heal intimacy issues is through building a friendship. It's trust. And that doesn't mean you giving up whatever. It means that they're also going to help you with something, Spirit's saying. Believe me, they're triggered and it's pushing them to grow, and and it just hurts them, and it's like they're stuck in the pain, and that's all that you keep seeing. Help, help, help. That's kind of like the energy there. Every other card is that. And it's like, but no one's keeping them in there. That's, you know what I mean? You can get out at any time you want. And it's like, but they're afraid. And it's because they don't feel good about themselves. And it's like, yes, I have feelings for you, but when you're going to see me, you're not going to want to be with me. I'm a loser. So that's why I said you have to realize you're not getting the same person that you thought that you were. And Spirit says I'm putting you in a position that you have all the power, and you might not even know what to do with that. Don't let this person run the show. Spirit says it's like, don't lose yourself in the relationship in the fixing department. Understand? And you're getting that also because, hey, you used to give too much. It's about you staying focused and being like, hey, boundaries, but not where you're cutting the person's head off, where balance may not be your thing, where Spirit says, remember, you have trust issues. So, so you might be like, so why would you bring this person into my life now? And Spirit says, because if you still have all the power, you have discernment. You don't have to like control your environment, Spirit's saying. You don't have to do that. It's that you're strong within yourself. You don't see that. And Spirit says, so that's why you're getting the situation again, because you have to walk on the fire coals. I haven't seen that yet. It's like you got to walk through the fire. You're like, I don't want to go through the fire. I'm going to walk around to the pond. And Spirit says, well, then there's just going to be alligators in that pond. So either way, you're going to walk through something that's uncomfortable. When you control it, it's actually a lot worse than when you're presented with what it is. But again, this person's not on your vibration. That doesn't mean that they're not going to get on your vibration. And, Spirit saying that's what healing is. You get who you need due to like the experiences that you've gone through. So karmic, where it's again, there's a deeper meaning to all this. Spirit saying that you're me in physical form, but you don't look like me. Your life doesn't look like mine. Spirit saying there's true feelings there. So stop acting like there's not. So it's again where you'll be like, well, I don't want there to be true feelings anymore. And because this person, I'm uncertain. And Spirit says, good. That's going to make this person master who they need to become. Like it's going to make them rise. You shouldn't be like rolling out the red carpet for this person. Spirit says, you think the timing is off? No, Spirit says you held on for a long time. So I had to get you to a point where you're like, fuck you too. And Spirit says, because, I need this person to open up their heart. They're going to be really afraid. They're not going to want to give, they're coming out of the situation and saying, yeah, let me go back into another situation. They don't know who you are, how you could be. They just, don't want, they're in grief. They don't want this to be over. They don't want this to be like over and done. And that's like, but whatever they've been in with this karmic is completely done. And it's because it made this person go deep within themselves. So it just says more about that, but by the springtime, you can expect this person to reach out. They'll be out of their situation. That's why I said it's about to blow. Like they're not going to be able to deal with it. They're not. It's a shit show over there. You know what I'm saying? And it's like this person's not going to come back like They're going to come back messed up, like I said. But as for right now, they're like, they're isolated. They feel very separated and disconnected from everyone right now. Very lonely. And Spirit says, but they can only stay in that energy for so long. Spirit says, they have to go through the process. So, but by the springtime, you can expect it. I mean, that's really what it is. This person, like, is going to want a little bit of their freedom, like when they get out of there. So they might get out a little bit sooner before the spring is over. And that's just to get their head together. But, once they get that freedom, which is coming, well, then, yes, they're going to have a little bit of that confidence to come to you and give you that message, by the spring, and you might be like, well, I'm not going to want them then. Who the hell are you? And Spirit says, you might act like that, but understand you're still emotionally connected. There's still an ESP connected. There's still a heart center, and it still feel deeply for this person. So you'll throw them a cracker, and that's how much you should give them. Nothing more, but that will give this person hope, and you will be amazed how much that they show up for you, and that's healing. This person can't go back in time, but they can make things right now if you allow that. And Spirit says, whether you like it or not. And Spirit says, whether you like it or not. It's like you're not in charge. You're not in charge. You are not in charge, Spirit says. I'm in charge. And because, again, you're not 100% healed. And if it pisses you off, well, that tells you, again, that you need healing. But I'm going to bring it to you because I love you so much. And part of healing is seeing the situation differently. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to be a little bit bitchy in the beginning, but this person will need it. But they will say, I'm deserving of it. I'm deserving of it. But Spirit says, don't stay in that energy because they're already not in a good place. Rise above it. Step into the best version of yourself. Teach this person. Again, that's why that's your specialty. That's why you're getting this person. We can say again, that's why you're getting this person to see yourself different and healed. But yeah, like this person, let me tell you something. The reason why that karmic held on to to your person, that I'm going to say, is because they know how to make money. They know how to make money. And that karmic was able to be very self-indulgent. They both lived very self-indulgently for a long time in order to deal with that situation. So this person has the power to make a lot of money. They're somebody that, they're someone that's very strong, and they just don't want you to move on. And there's, again, too much of this ESP connection to, it's like where they've never had it before. It's like it just keeps saying the same thing. But I was curious. I was like, what would you be getting? Why would you want to deal with this person? And Spirit says, oh, they have good qualities about themselves. It's like they're a good person. It's like, again, they just got with the wrong person and allowed that person so much power. And, but that was because it was fragmentation there to begin with. And this karmic has brought in everybody and everyone to stop this person from leaving them. And that's why, it's taken the time, and it's a process, but they had to go through this to once and for all be like, I don't want to be with you. I'm done. They wouldn't have done it, is what I see. And so we have to say, okay, so in the meantime, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you supposed to do? And the spirit says, oh, look to brighter horizons. First of all, it's again, if you can imagine it, you can create it. You're still in charge of your life. This is about, again, releasing the chains that no longer bind you. You are good enough. You are worthy. You are lovable. And you do deserve respect. And you will get respect. But it's to hold yourself to a certain standard. No one can make you anything that you're not. Spirit says it's about rising above. How do you think you elevate, huh? Spirit says stop controlling. I told you you're not in charge. Spirit says you're not in charge. Take time out and relax. Relax. Don't do it. Spirit says just live your life is what you're supposed to do. That good things are coming. This person's not stopping those good things from coming. Spirit's saying. It's like you don't have to let them in the driver's seat. They're not driving in the seat. You're the one that's driving, is the whole point. Again, it's about utilizing your boundaries, using your voice. Because guess what? Infinite possibilities happen when you're kind to people that don't deserve kindness, Spirit says. But there's a connection, otherwise you wouldn't want to do it. Spirit says, if this wasn't about what this person did to you, how they were living their own life. How they will live in their own life. It's about they need to be taught how to be a friend. That's why you're getting a person that is like, I want to come back, and I need a friend. I really need somebody to talk to. I'm really lonely. Again, they've been reflecting for a long time. Can't stay drunk or using all the time. Trust me. It's like this person's in a hell. And we leave off with one more message from the universe. And we see what that is. Positive thinking. Your life is full of small patches of light. Direct your thoughts to that which bring you well-being. Place what is weighty for you in the hands of the universe. Little by little, the light awakens in your being and you find serenity. Let's pull another one. It's again creator, which is you have the power to direct your life with a constructive attitude. Create what is best for your soul. Firmly believe that you can transform and improve your inner and outer world by turning every thought into an affirmation. I act in the image of God and bring light into my life. And Spirit says you're getting this because, again, I need you to act in the image of me, which is unconditional love. You do have it for this person. You're just pissed off because you're like, how fucking dare you? And the Spirit says, well, how dare them? I should be saying that because I live inside of them. And believe me, this was no picnic. So if I could forgive them, you need to forgive them. It's like, that doesn't mean you're rolling out the red carpet. It means that you're going to act decisively, create boundaries, ask for what you need. You're getting that because you were not allowed to do that growing up. It's about trust comes from trusting yourself, but you have to not be a mind reader, and you can't be in a place of anger and resentment, and you have to have compassion. Spirit says people make mistakes that have nothing to do with you. It's again, however, they'll awaken your shit for sure. Spirit says, well, I do a 2-for-1. I work smarter, not harder. God says, there's a lot of you out there. So if everyone can learn, well, that works for me, So, that's the way I'm going to play it. And so this person is bringing something in, and it's about you not letting your anger and resentment ruin something that possibly you really do want. For those of you that do want it, you're just like, I'm fucking pissed. It's like, fuck this person. And the Spirit says, yeah, well, would have to be that way, and for them to come back and actually try. That's why otherwise it would be too easy for this person. And Spirit says, I don't want it to be easy. They have to, again, open up their heart. This person has a closed heart chakra from being with crazy, Spirit's saying, and from beaten down. So you have to teach this person through compassion, through forgiveness. And again, having compassion for somebody that doesn't think the way that you do. But it doesn't mean that they think right. And it doesn't mean that you're going to, think You're going to hold to a standard, and this person's going to look at your life and say, well, I want that. Again, I'd like that. It's again the muse. How do you think you learn? You learn by people get inspired. That's how God says. I'm asking you to act in the image of me. Good things are happening. Look, your infinite possibilities. Your abundance is coming, Spirit saying. So I'm asking you to do this for me. So Spirit says, and you know you kind of want to. You just like, well, I don't know how I'm going to play it. And Spirit says, we just talked about how you're going to play it. Balanced. Kind of like a little bit like I said, a big sister, a big brother, a little bit like, I'm going to tell you because I love you, but that's, fucked up, or that's, what are you, stupid? Like, why would you do that? It's again, because this person's not aware. It's like you take it like, but that's what happens when someone beats you down for a long time. They have to, again, raise their energy. And Spirit says, I will put everything in everyone's environment to help them grow. You become better at being decisive and setting boundaries and feeling strong in yourself. And this person learns how to be, how to rise a little bit, how to love themselves a little bit. What's important, that heal themselves spiritually, heal themselves emotionally. You again heal the grounding elements that you need grounding in, as well as the second chakra. Your higher chakras are open. It's the lower chakras that aren't. This person's lower chakras are open, but their higher ones are not. And so that's what the twin flame does. They come in to teach, to heal through unconditional love. It doesn't mean it's easy, because you're like, fuck this person. And the Spirit says, yeah, but it's again, you wouldn't stick around long enough to learn. That's the whole point, is that you still love them unconditionally. It's like kind of like a parent. Sometimes when you have a puppy, you have a dog that runs away lately, because I have a fence, and I was like running around my house right before my live stream being like, I'm gonna fucking kill him when I get my hands on him, because I was in the backyard with him. I looked down for a second and he took off without a leash, without anything. And of course, now I'm going to be late for my live stream and look flaky again. And so, I have to drive around and looking out finally found him. But nevertheless, it's like, it's like one of those situations, like when, you're in a situation, you're like, I want to fucking kill them. It's like, because they didn't think about me, because they don't, if you care, and Spirit says, you need to learn to think about you first. That's why, again, you're going to teach this person on how they have to treat you. It's again, and that's something that you haven't done properly. That's why you're getting that. And not just with this person, but with other people due to your trauma. Again, and that could be, I trust that person, come in too fast, give too much, and then I, back off when the person like doesn't show up for me, and I perceive it as betrayal, where Spirit says relationships happen over time. Trust happens over time. What you'll notice is you're going to get somebody that, if you're fast, I like everything fast, you're getting the slowest person. Like if you're getting someone that's really grounded, you're going to be really into it. And that's because it's too much. The twin flame creates balance, and it creates balance through, having the different gifts, having the different medicines that you don't have. So again, the very masculine energy, you might not have it, where you have other gifts, and Spirit says, and the twin flame heals through that. Through that is the alchemy. It's the love. It's the passion. Where this person, I mean, that's what's making them like check out and making that karmic crazy. Because that karmic, like, I know that there's someone there. I know that you're thinking about somebody else. And it's like, and they're fantasizing. And that karmic is pissed every time they go to the bathroom. No, like, it's like you're doing something, because you're not over here taking care of this, where I feel like that karmic would, beat this person down, and then they would get a little bit of that action, a little bit, or go out to dinner, or be treated special. And then, the person would wander again, but they would eventually get something where they could live the illusion they're not getting anything. And Spirit says that's the reason why. Create your life, be true to you, Spirit says. I'm going to leave that there. Let me know if you resonated. My internet's acting up. Maybe it's your internet. I don't know. But I'm going to wind it down. Thanks for sharing your energy with me. I'll talk to you soon.